Hey folks, what is going on? It's Jacob. In this one, I want to walk through with you how we sell on Facebook Messenger. Okay, now in my business, in my clients' businesses, we've sold info products, courses, coaching, consulting, events, software from both an affiliate perspective and a product creator perspective, as in we own the product or our clients own the product, and also as an affiliate for other companies. This stuff is universal, and we've used Facebook Messenger to very effectively sell stuff from $500 all the way up to 24,000 at this stage without needing sales calls and stuff like that. Obviously, if we want to segue over to a sales call, that is an option, but it is not necessary. All right, there's a belief out there that once you get past a couple of grand, you've got to transition to a phone call, and that's just simply not the case. All right. With that said, you need to know how to do a couple of things. One of those is what comes before the conversation. The other part is what happens in the presentation of the offer, aka what is in the offer. What are you actually selling? How compelling is that? How relevant is that to the individual? And then the third component that I want to talk to you about today is what happens in the actual conversation. Right, so they're the three kind of main moving parts. Is what's the brand like, and how has the person been pre-framed or pre-sold via the individual's content, if at all. The offer creation is the other part. How relevant and how compelling is the offer that is being sold. And then the part we're going to talk about today is that piece in the middle, is what does that conversation actually look like? And I want to talk you through two different frameworks that we use. One's more detailed and one's more short form, depending on different situations. I'll talk you through both, and then you can go and deploy them as necessary in your own business. Okay, these are the two main ones we use, and my team uses on my behalf, and we've taught to a lot of different people who we've been able to take from really no sales experience or very little online sales experience and do very, very well selling on Messenger. So before we jump into that, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you get notified whenever I drop a new video. If you get any value out of this one, be sure to give it a like, and check out the links in the description. First one's going to get you free access to my private community. The next chunk of links is over to some paid programs. You can check those out, see if any of them are relevant to you, and jump in if you feel so inclined, and we can work more closely together depending on which program you jump into. Okay, with that all out of the way, the first one I'll walk you through is, I kind of call this like our more lifestyle-based script, and the reason I say that is because it's so simple. Like, I've used this script, which is kind of a compilation of a couple of different things, to close some of the most simple sales you would ever imagine. Sitting at the dentist, at the pub, on the balcony, having my coffee in the morning. Incredibly simple framework that really anyone can deploy. The reason it's so simple is because when you use this framework, or this script, or whatever you want to call it, more of the heavy lifting has been done before, right? And when I say before, I mean in your content, I mean in your funnel, I mean on your lives, on your videos, on your posts, on your emails. Your leveraged content has done more of the heavy lifting. So when you deploy this more lifestyle-based script, the person's a lot closer to a purchasing decision. You're getting them to message you or reach out, which is a key part to begin with. They're coming to you, so you're in a position of authority in that dynamic, about a specific product. Right, so they're much closer. They know you've got a solution. They're interested in the solution. They know they've got a problem. They know you can help them. All of those kind of things. They may even know the price, and if they know the price at that point, makes it even easier to begin with. Because if they're still reaching out, even though they already know the price, it's just going to make your life a hell of a lot easier. So in these situations, you might send out an email, you might put out a Facebook post, you might do a YouTube video, you might go live, where you explain the details about the problems you help people solve, your solution, your plan of attack, whatever you want to call it, your game plan for them, and then tell them about the product. Right? You might say we've got a new thing opening up, and it's going to be X dollars. You can decide if you want to include that on the front end or not. You'll get less volume if you include the price, but you'll get more qualified people. and say, send me a message or click this link and talk to my team if you're interested in this product, service, solution, whatever, right? So when those people reach out, they are very, 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 very close because they know they're reaching out to get sold to. They're just getting the particulars of the product or the service. They know the price in some cases, which means it's going to be, you're essentially avoiding that objection in most cases. Some people will reach out and then still say they can't afford it. There's just always those time wasters or people that want to funnel hack you or whatever. But you will eliminate a lot of those by putting that on the front end. And really it's just about ticking the boxes as much for you as it is for them. Them ticking the box, making sure it's 100% the right fit, making sure that it's got what they need, all of that kind of stuff, the features of it stack up. And for you, making sure your team or yourself has a quick conversation with them to make sure they're somebody that you actually want to work with, right? The more, if you're a beginner, that may not seem relevant to you because you're like, I'll just fucking do anything to make a sale. But the more people you take on, the more sales you make. You're going to want to become more and more and more and more and more selective about who you work with. The earlier you can do that, the better. You're going to save yourself a hell of a lot of heartache. It's just really hard to teach that to people who are earlier on because they just want to make the sale. So you give those people a little bit more leniency in that regard. So when we have these people reach out, typically the main thing we'll lead out with is maybe one or two lines about thanks for reaching out, good to chat, blah blah blah, like just typical being a human friendly stuff. And then the main thing that we get into is what I call the qualifying question or qualifying questions or qualifying parameters, right? With whatever you want to sell, there's typically going to be a couple of factors that very quickly, and they're tangible things, they're very quickly going to sift and sort if an individual is right for you or not, right? So for example, the 2 Common Club on the wall behind me, that's for our program called the Super Affiliate Accelerator, which is all about high ticket affiliate marketing. The links are in the description if you want to check that out. Couple of the parameters for that are you've got to be prepared to build a personal brand, right? And you've got to be prepared to learn marketing, sales, content, all of that kind of stuff. It's not for the person that wants a set and forget type solution. It's not for the person who wants to sit behind the scenes, right? So they're types of qualifying questions that I like to put in front of people, or I like to have my team put in front of people who are thinking about purchasing that product. Because if they don't want to build a personal brand, if they've got no interest in learning how to sell one-to-one, create content, build a Facebook group, use their Facebook profile, learn to craft affiliate offers, all of that kind of stuff that we teach in that program, there's no point in them buying, right? If you don't qualify them on that basis, then they get in, they're going to go, shit, I got to do all this stuff, I don't want to do it, I'm going to refund, I'm going to be the most difficult customer in the world, I might charge back. Like, it's just not worth the hassle, right? So if you are out there creating content, sending emails, and you're getting people really, really close, and you just want to have a very, very quick conversation to nudge them over the line, have that qualifying question ready. What are the 1, 2, 3 parameters that you can very, very quickly call on, or your team can very, very quickly call on to qualify those people in and out, right? If they say, yep, I fit the bill, you can move forward with them. I'll talk about that in a second. If they say, no, you've got 2 options. You either say, no worries, we can reconnect if we have an offer in the future that's more suitable for you. Or if you've got a wider scope of product options, talk to them about, okay, well, if that's not for you, what is it that you want to achieve? What are you trying to do? What are your goals? All of that kind of stuff. And when we talk about the second framework, that'll become more relevant because they're reaching out about a certain product, it's not a fit for them, so you kind of move further back in the process. And I'll tell you about the second framework, which is more detailed in a second. But assuming they say yes and you want to move forward, that's typically where we let our more leveraged assets kick in. So that could be a sales document, a PDF, a video, something like that can kind of do the explaining for us at that point. Right, we've used all of those different types of assets. They all work. The media or the tech isn't the important part. It's what they're saying and what they're offering and how they're explaining it and all of that kind of stuff. The biggest thing is getting people sold on your plan of attack. Right? Does your plan of attack fit for them? Can they understand it? Can they see how it can work for them? Can they see how it can solve their problems? Can they see how it can get them to where they want to go? If you can sell people on your plan of attack, the product becomes a very, very easy pitch because they want that solution, right? And then this is where it starts to get into it's important to have your own kind of unique solution that they can't really get in other places, or at least something that's packaged in that way so that you're not a commodity and you've got a lot more price elasticity and all of that kind of stuff. So once we've qualified them, we'll say, awesome, it's great that you fit. I've got all the details in a video, in a doc, in a PDF, whatever. Are you happy for me to drop that over? And what we're doing here is we're getting these little commitments along the way, and then they're gonna go, yep. And then you can either send it over at that point, or you can even ask one more little like micro commitment type question and say, cool, I will send that over right now. Once you've checked it out, just let me know if you're in or out, right? And then get them to commit on that. And you might think that you're being kind of annoying or pedantic or whatever, or that they're going to get pissed off. If they get pissed off at you just kind of stepping them through the process methodically, they're not going to be people that you want to sell to begin with. So it's kind of a good extra layer to add, and you'll rarely find that, because what they're used to is as soon as they slide into someone's DMs, getting hammered with a link, no personal touch, no kind of slowing of the role of the salesperson, all that kind of stuff. It's just very, sell. They're definitely not qualifying. They'll sell to anybody, all that kind of shit. So it's a different type of experience than what they're used to. Then you send them over the document, they're going to review it, and they're either going to be in, out, maybe you can handle some objections, all of that kind of stuff. And then depending on how hard you want to sell, that's going to be up to the individual. We have a ridiculously relaxed approach. We don't do a ton of like hardcore objection handling. If there's something we think, people have missed the point on something, we'll help them try and see that, in fact, it's actually this other way. But we're not in the business of twisting arms. We're in the business of giving people the opportunity to buy our stuff. And if they want to, they can. If they don't have to. All right. So that's a really, really simple one that we use, that I like a lot, and that our team likes a lot. Content does the heavy lifting on the front end. We simply qualify them. We send them over to watch something. That breaks down all the details about our plan of attack, our offer, and tells them to just let us know if they're in or out. We might handle a couple of questions, but typically with the way that we package up the offers, it's pretty crystal clear, and they can make a decision either way. And 8 times out of 10, it's I'm in or out. Very, very few situations they'll have a couple of questions. We might answer a few. If they start getting into their whole life story, there's clearly some other hang-ups, and then you can decide how far you want to go with that. So that's the first one. The second one is our more detailed script, and this is the one we'll use on the phone if we need to. It's the same framework. Or if someone's further back, so they might have reached out and said, hey, I'm trying to accomplish a certain goal, or hey, I've got a certain problem, and you're trying to figure out from your product suite, if anything, what's the best solution. Maybe you're trying to package a couple of things together. Maybe they might want a different level of support. Maybe they might want one-to-one instead of group, or group instead of a course, or they're further back in the process, and you need to go through more of a diagnostic. All right, and this has a couple of variations of it, but essentially what we'll do is we'll try and get a really, really clear picture on where they're at right now, right? The challenges that they're facing, what they're struggling with, what they've tried, and just try and get all of that on the table, because the clearer that picture can become, the easier it is for everybody. And often for the people that are explaining it, when they get asked those questions and when you kind of probe into those things, stuff will start to come out that starts to set off light bulbs for them. Then once you've dug into that and you've really, really got clarity on where they're at right now, you'll flip over to the other side of the equation and try and understand where they want to go and why they want to get there. What are their motives, all of those kind of things. Make sure they align with what you want to do, and you'll spend a lot of time digging into that part of the conversation, and that can go back and forth for could be brief, could be long. As I said, can be done on the phone, can be done on Messenger. It's really about understanding those two different pillars. Where are they now? What are they struggling with? Where do they want to get to, and why do they want to get there? Once you've got all of that information on the table, right, then it's up to the individual who's having the conversation with them, be that you or your team, to go, okay, do we actually have a solution for this person? If you don't, you shouldn't proceed. You should say, look, based on everything we've kind of spoken about, I don't think we've got something for you right now. Perhaps we could circle back in the future, or let me talk to Jacob, let me talk to Bob, let me talk to Sally, see what we can come up with for you. If you're not certain, don't just try and push people into a certain product for the sake of making a sale, because it's going to become a pain in the ass down the line. All right. If you do have clarity on something that's a good fit for them, at that point, you can say, look, based on everything you've told me, I think we can definitely help you. You're happy for me to tell you a little bit about how that might work. Then you can kind of start wide and zoom in, right? Talk a little bit about you, what you've done, the other people that you've helped, and then get more and more specific into the solution, right? And then once they've kind of agreed that all makes sense and it matches up with where they are, where they want to get to, it's different from what they've tried before, it's going to solve those problems, then you can say cool, and you kind of pivot back to the first framework we were talking about, where you send over the details for whatever it is, you get the commitment and you close the sale. And then again, if there's questions, if there's objections, we can talk about that in another video, but you'll handle them at that point, right? So the big distinction between these two messenger frameworks, and this can work over text, this can work on WhatsApp, it doesn't matter. It's just a more of a text-based conversation framework, or two text-based conversation frameworks. The big difference being the reason or the level of awareness, or how far progressed they are when they reach out, right? That first framework, they're reaching out about a specific product, right? They've got as much information as possible, sometimes even the price, and they want the particulars of it. That's why it's a much shorter sales process, because the stuff on the front end, your content, your lives, your emails, your videos, whatever, is doing more of the heavy lifting. In the other cases, they might have heard about you from somewhere, they might have read one of your posts and liked what they've seen, you might have given a softer call to action, and they've reached out about a particular problem, about a particular goal, and they want to see if you can help them get there, but they're not product aware, they're not aware of a specific solution that you have, they're probably not going to be aware of the price, they might know you charge in a certain bracket, but all that stuff has to come, and that's why you use a more detailed script to get all of those facts on the table. That's for your benefit, your team's benefit, and it's also for their benefit, because you want, open transparency about where they're at, where they want to go, and if you can help them at all. All right. They're the two main messenger frameworks that we use in my business. They both work really well. Like I said, there's those two other components. There's the content, the stuff that's happening on the front end, the brand equity, the goodwill with the audience, all that kind of stuff, and how good the offer is. All right. I got other videos on this channel about crafting offers. You can see some examples of other offers that I've done if you want to get a feel for what I'm talking about there. But if you pair one of those two frameworks with a really strong brand, really strong personal brand, and a really strong offer, you'll start knocking in sales very, 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 very easy. All right, just use the relevant framework for the relevant scenario, and you'll be good to go. All right, if you want to check out some of our programs, you can look at the links in the description. If you want to join the free community, the link's in the description as well. And I'll see you all in the next video. Give this video a like if you set off any light bulbs. These are very, very effective frameworks. Put your own voice in them, right? Don't be robotic. Just be a human being. Have fun. Only sell to people who need your stuff or want your stuff, and you can make money and have a lot of fun. I'll talk to you all in the next video. Leave a comment, questions, likes, all that kind of stuff. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.